Paris Talley was a 28-day-old baby girl born in Dayton, Ohio, in the United States. China Arnold, Paris' mother, gave birth to her in August 2005. China was living with her boyfriend/Paris' father, Talley, at the time. Terrell and China looked after their daughter at their flat complex. China's other 3 children also remained with the couple. The couple was exhausted from caring for 3 children and a newborn on August 29, 2005. So Terrell asked his sister to watch the 4 children while he went to the park to spend quality time with China. The couple began drinking until they were both extremely inebriated. They then got into an argument about Paris' paternity. Terrell was skeptical that he was Paris' father because he had heard stories about China having an affair with another man. China has denied the allegations. But the couple's argument heated up from there. Terrell also denied being the father of Paris. Terrell then confronted China with the news that he had been sleeping with her next-door neighbor. China couldn't handle the admission of infidelity. The couple returned home, where the argument erupted once more. In the parking lot, China bit Terrell on the lip. In retaliation, Terrell slapped China and pushed her to the ground. Terrell was too upset to go inside their house after that. So he went to a nearby flat and began selling drugs. He returned home later, once he had calmed down. Terrell discovered China passed out on their couch and Paris sleeping next to it. Terrell also fell asleep. He awoke the next morning to find Paris cold and rigid, with numerous severe burn marks. Terrell immediately went into a panic attack. He awoke China, and they rushed Paris to a children's hospital. The doctors were unable to save Paris, and she was declared dead. The baby's temperature was over 100 degrees. She didn't have a pulse and wasn't breathing. Doctors were perplexed by Paris' injuries and questioned how she had sustained her burns. It didn't make sense for Paris to show up in a clean nightgown. Based on her injuries, her garment should have had skin and been torn. Meanwhile, Terrell was upset and crying, and China yelled that Paris' skin was simply peeling. China told authorities that she arrived home at 2 a.m. and attempted to feed Paris. Paris refused to eat, and her body was scorching. Then China awoke in the morning and discovered that Paris was acting strangely. With all of the inconsistencies, China and Terrell were taken from the hospital to the police station. Meanwhile, the couple's flat was searched by police. The police were aware that Paris had been burned, but they were unaware of the cause of the fire. The burns were very distinct. They were severe in some areas while being mild in others. Paris had severe burns on the front of her chest and face. The officers searched the house, including the cooker and oven, but did not look into the microwave. They had no idea a microwave could be so dangerously hot. Never mind anyone using it on a baby. The police then discovered that China was seen outside on her porch at 4 a.m. on the day Paris was killed. China, on the other hand, stated that she was waiting for Terrell to return home. She also claimed Terrell had left with Paris earlier. Regardless, China was arrested while Terrell was allowed to leave the police station that day. China was arrested for child endangerment because she was the only one at home when Paris was injured. However, due to a lack of evidence, she was released. The cops returned to Terrell and China's flat and examined the microwave, where they discovered Paris' DNA. A baby the size of Paris could fit in the microwave. Furthermore, the burn patterns on Paris' body matched the heating element in the oven. Paris was positioned on her back with her back to the heating element. Paris had to have died almost immediately after the microwave reached 108 degrees Fahrenheit. Her death occurred between 1 to 3:15 a.m., and China was last seen outside on his porch around 4 a.m. Paris' burns were examined by a pathologist. According to the pathologist, the burns matched those of another Virginia child who died in a microwave. According to the pathologist, the temperature in Paris reached 107 to 108 degrees. She was probably in there for at least 2 minutes. China has been charged with aggravated manslaughter. They stated that China had purposefully killed another person under the age of 13. China developed a close relationship with her cellmate, Linda Williams, while awaiting trial. Linda was told by China. Linda testified in court against China. Linda revealed that China admitted to putting Paris in the microwave because she was afraid Terrell would abandon her if he discovered the baby wasn't his. Paris also stated that if he hadn't cheated on her, she would still be alive. China had a criminal history before giving birth to Paris. China was convicted of kidnapping in 2000. She was later arrested for forgery a few years later. China Arnold had an average IQ and no serious mental disorders, according to 2 psychologists. China was convicted and sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole. And, regarding the paternity dispute that sparked Terrell and Paris's feud, DNA tests conducted after Paris's death confirmed that Terrell was her father. What are your thoughts on the Paris Talley's case? I really appreciate your input. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Be a part of the Chris Crime Diaries family and hit the subscribe button now.